you know what? I really can apply these things and they will actually work Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Leonie Hunter and here I share my experiences on business, lifestyle, and self-care. And today I'll be talking about how to stay encouraged in these entrepreneurship streets because stuff can get pretty difficult sometimes. And I just want to give you some of the tips I use to keep myself focused and staying encouraged, not falling into slumps of doubt and sadness when I'm going through business, because entrepreneurship can be hard, and I definitely want to help impart some recommendations and some information to you so that we can all make it out here, okay? So my first recommendation is think positively. Groundbreaking, right? Yes, I know. I came up with it all by myself. So for real, thinking positively is something that's cliche. It's something that we hear all the time, but when you have to put it in action, it's actually really difficult to do when there's a bunch of things that are around you that aren't looking positive. And in the past 2 years, since the whole pandemic started, a lot of things that seem more negative have been around us on a more daily basis than it was prior to the pandemic. And so thinking positively is really a feat sometimes at this point. So for me, to help get me through the times where it's like the world is ending, things are not going to turn around, or my business is struggling, or it's doing okay, but I want to see it do better because things have changed in the world. There are challenges in the world today that make it having a positive outlook on your business more difficult, at least for me in my case. So to keep myself in a positive mindset, to keep myself encouraged, I think this too shall pass. Although it's difficult right now, although things are hard, how many times have I gone through, how many times have you gone through something where it seems like I'm never going to get out of this situation? I'm never going to see the light of day in this situation. And you keep living your life and you let it go and you don't focus on it day after day after day. And you look up one day and you realize, oh, you got past something or you overcame something. If you've never had an experience like that, take it from me. I've tried my hand at many, many things. You know the saying, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I've taken lots of shots and I've missed plenty of shots, but I've also landed plenty of shots at the same time. So if you haven't had a moment where you went through something tough and you haven't seen the light of day after it, if you keep walking through that with a positive mindset, you will for sure come out of that. Even if it means you pivot to something different than you imagined once you get there, if you think positively through it, you will come out of that negative state. And that sans talking about actual depression and things like that. This is just for encouragement for your daily life, things that are not necessarily related to a clinical issue. My second suggestion is join a small business networking group. These groups are so important. Most of them should have different types of businesses. So you'll be able to get wisdom from all angles. When you're feeling discouraged and you need encouragement, you can ask someone who maybe has an insurance business, someone who builds apps, a real estate agent, or a plethora of different businesses. They would draw from their experiences and come together on a good piece of advice for you on moving forward in whatever trouble you're having. Somebody in the group can encourage you with their story of how they've started and where they ended up now, or if they're going through the same issue and what they're doing to help get through it. Those groups are so important because there will be times where you hit a discouragement phase or you hit something that you're discouraged about, and people who've been there, done that, are currently going through it themselves is a good, just comforting feeling when you know you could talk to somebody who understands exactly what's happening and what's going on with you, especially if you're in a family or friend group where no one else is actually seeking entrepreneurship or acting on it. Being in those small networking groups where you can ask them questions, where you can just glean some wisdom from them is super, super helpful. Suggestion number 3 is find yourself a friend. Maybe you find that friend in your small networking group. Maybe you found them when you were out and about, connecting with people, or someone you met at a bar, someone you can have one-on-one conversation with as well, just to go more in depth about your emotions, because sometimes in those small business groups, it's a time limit, there's an agenda. So those are places where you could ask your questions and get information from everybody. If you weren't able to go in depth in the meeting about solving your issue, then someone will most likely like to go out to lunch or meet you at a happy hour to fully discuss more about whatever you're struggling with. And they could just talk it through. And sometimes it just takes talking to somebody else about the issue without actually having them give you a solution, just to help you ease your frustration, ease your pain. Even if it's not a friend who's in business or someone pursuing entrepreneurship goals, it could be difficult when you are the only person trying to motivate yourself, because that can only go so far if you're not seeing results. So having people outside of you that can motivate you, that can impart wisdom into you, how they got through a discouraging time or whatever it is that you're going through, is something that you should set yourself up to do even before you start a business. I remember when I first started Evie & Company in 2018, I joined a small business networking group where we had to meet every week, and we had to have one-on-ones with everybody in our group so we could really get to know everybody. That group was so great for me when I first started my business. If it wasn't for that group, I would have given up with me trying to just incorporate my business and reach out to clients and build relationships. That group helped to grow me up in a way as an entrepreneur. Like, I was a baby when I went in and I wasn't able to walk. And when I came out of there, I was walking and talking. So even if you haven't solidified your business plan, but you have your business idea, that's a great place to get started. Suggestion number 3, say positive affirmations or read scriptures to yourself. Depending on what your beliefs are, you could do either one or both. But for me, this is something that I used to struggle with when I was in a doubtful place or I was discouraged, where I'm like, my emotions are not giving me, say, positive things. They're giving me this, it sucks. That's what it's giving me. And that's where I want to stay, honestly. So I've had those moments where I'm like, I don't want to be positive. I want to feel the emotions. And that could be okay for a moment. But for me, when I'm trying to get to the next step, when I don't want to be on this discouragement step anymore, but I know that I've started this thing that I'm doing, I've started this business, I'm not going to stop now. I got to keep going. I have to see it to the end. So for me to see it to the end, I need to do whatever it takes to get myself to a better place, where I've gained enough strength to carry on to the next wall that I may hit. So one of the scriptures I like to read is Romans 15:13, and it says this: "Now may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you believe, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit." Now, that speaks to me because it tells me that the Lord that I serve is going to fill me up with joy and peace. And when I'm feeling low, I could trust him to fill me back up. When I'm needing affirmations, my go-tos are, yes, this sucks right now, but there is a positive ending after this if I keep going. Even if the outcome is not exactly how I imagine it, I have to go through this, because going backwards or staying in the same place is not going to bring me progress. It's not going to bear any fruit for me. So I have to go forward so I can bear the fruit that's before me. And you could tackle what's before you with hope, real, genuine hope, because even though things may not have changed physically in the situation you're in that's bringing you discouragement, hope conquers discouragement. And moving forward with that, even if it diminishes or weakens down the line, always use affirmations and scriptures and positive words coming from whether it be books or messages or friends or someone from your small group can just help fill you up so that you move forward with hope and really get the job done in your business. Suggestion number 4 for staying encouraged is celebrate your wins. I used to be the type of person where I could get a win, but because there's a small section of that win that didn't go right, or there was a piece where I was embarrassed, but the overall result was fantastic, or I got great feedback, but that perfectionist in me is like that. I just want to be 100%. There may be 1%, 10%, that's not exactly how I wanted it to be, but I had to learn to celebrate the wins. Because if I just focus on the part that didn't work out, then I will have this false history of things not working out for me. Where if I think about the things that did work out, I celebrate the wins, I celebrate the positives, I celebrate the things that hit on the 90%, then I will have a more realistic history of my accomplishments or of my entrepreneurship journey. And that's so important, because when our whole business is in our hands, literally, it's like everything we do affects the business and the outcome of the business. And when something doesn't go right, it's like, oh, what would have happened if that would have worked out? What would have happened? Would I have gotten more clients? I would have gotten more views? What would have happened if I would have did this exactly right? That's something that will rob you of being hopeful and encouraging yourself, is if you're constantly thinking about that 1%, that 10% that failed, and never celebrating the 90% or the 99% that succeeded. Everything else I'm saying is nothing new. It's not new information. But even though I already knew this information from going to church, from having mentors, from being in small groups, I still find myself forgetting these basic principles. And I found myself constantly being in a negative state of mind when it came to the things I was doing. I'm saying it now because I know that watching some YouTube videos and people talking about encouragement and talking about their entrepreneurship stories, even though I may have saw a few videos, more than one, more than two, 5, 6, it still took maybe one more video to tell me, you know what? I really can apply these things and they will actually work if I am consistent with them and I take them seriously. So if you've been watching a lot of videos on encouragement and motivation and you still don't feel it, hopefully this is the video that tells you you can do this. You are not any different than anybody else who has taken steps towards their dreams. If you're in the middle of doing your business and you're like, I thought I had it, but I don't have it, you do have it. It takes these steps every day, continuously, to make sure that you stay in the game. And even if you really don't feel it, know that if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, you will arrive at the place you desire to arrive. And one day you're going to look up and realize, wow, I can't believe I actually got here to the place where I wanted to be. And it can sneak up on you. So get prepared. My suggestion number 6 is don't let your mind run off with negative thoughts continuously. I understand that there are thoughts that are going to pop up into your head that says you're not going to be able to do this. You suck at something, but reel those in, capture those thoughts and don't let them take over your brain. But if you keep those affirmations in the front of your mind, if you keep those scriptures in the front of your mind, if you have the person that you could talk to, or you know you're going to go to this small business networking group, absolutely keep these in rotation for yourself so that you know that this negative thinking is temporary and it's not something you're going to wallow in. Because being in that negative mindset will keep you from realizing the actual results from being motivated. So you can watch all these videos, but if your intent is to continuously think negatively, then these videos won't work. They won't help you. But being disciplined enough to say enough is enough with this negative thinking, and we're not going to let those overtake us. We're going to move forward with hope and with peace, and we're going to conquer these fears and be encouraged and think positively about the future of our businesses. Okay, so that's it for my suggestions on how to stay encouraged as an entrepreneur. I hope the video was helpful. The things that I said are not brand new concepts. It's not rocket science, but we have to believe in ourselves enough that we can apply these things. And if you already started going down the YouTube rabbit hole of encouragement videos, please take a break after watching this video and start doing some of the things I said in this video, because for me, they completely changed the way I approach entrepreneurship. So I believe that it could work for you because it definitely worked for me. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment below, like, subscribe, all that stuff if you like to. But really, if you're watching this video, I hope that you join my community because I want to grow anybody who's involved in this space, anybody who's involved in this YouTube channel. I want us to grow and be strong-minded and to live our lives in encouragement and be motivated to continue the things we put our hands to. Please join me in this journey as I share my experiences, as I talk about my doubts and my fears and what I'm doing to overcome those and still move forward and still be successful and show up in my business. And I hope you take some time to look at my other videos where I talk about self-care, where I talk about operations and logistics and all the things that comes with being a business owner, and specifically sharing my interior design and my home staging, because that's what my business is focused on. That was a lot. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I can't wait to see you in my next one. Bye-bye.